Welcome to the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel powered by InsideTexas.com. I'm Joe Cook. We got Coach Dub and Justin Wells for another great edition of Recruiting Intel. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, help us to get to 8,000 subscribers. We're going to have a ton of great stuff over the course of the end of May and, of course, June in official visit season. Head to InsideTexas.com. You can use the promo code IT1. That'll get you 2 months of Inside Texas for just $1. Here we are on May 21st. That'll get you through July 21st. There are a lot of decisions that'll be happening around then, and you're going to want to know all the different details. Today, we are going to talk a little bit about 2025 wide receiver recruiting as well as running backs in the 2026 class. So, Justin, it seems like when we think about what the most star-studded position might be, in 2022, it was offensive line. In 2023, it was quarterback. In 2024, was it running back, maybe linebacker, maybe edge. And then in 2025, it's going to be wide receiver.
3 5-stars, DeCorian Moore, Jamie French, and Khalil Lockett. Does Texas end up with all three of those? That remains to be seen. I mean, that's tough. That's going to rival the class of 2000 that had Roy Williams, Sloan Thomas, and B.J. Johnson. I don't know if that's going to come to fruition, but I do know Texas loves the position they're in right now with the top two on that board, and that board hasn't changed in Moore and French. And so right now, this has the potential to be the power position in the class of 2025. It's in good shape heading into OV season.
How hard is it to build consensus, not only in telling one prospect that the school is the place for you, but telling 3 different prospects of high quality that a certain school is a place for you, also at this position of wide receiver where there's only one football?
Yeah, there may be one football, but Sark does a great job of spreading the ball around. I think with the guys he's recruiting, they can play multiple spots and move around. And you see Sark do that now and done it in the past. You just got 2 receivers drafted and a tight end drafted, so even though there's only one football, Sark spreads it around. So you just sell them on that. And you can show them film and show them examples of how you spread the ball around and how you're going to move them around in the offense and to get them open. So I think you get guys who want to compete and want them. You want receivers who want the ball, but also understand the team concept that, hey, it may not be today. You may not get 10 targets. You may get 5, but with those 5, I'm going to make sure that they're really good targets. And so you just got to find guys who want to compete and want to win and doesn't mind maybe not sharing the ball, not getting the ball every play, but know that you are going to get your targets throughout the season.
Justin, when we talk about Khalil Lockett, DeCorian Moore, and Jamie French, who are some of the top schools in competition with the Longhorns for each of their services?
Yeah, with DeCorian Moore, it's going to come down to Oregon and Ohio State against Texas. Those are going to be the top 2. He's only going to take 3 officials, and those are the last 3 in the mix. When he decommitted, he made it clear he's not reopening his recruitment. I actually think it's going to come down to Texas and Oregon. I think Oregon. I think he can see himself playing in Oregon, especially with Rashad Samples up there now, and so that's going to be the big one there. With Jamie French, it's interesting because it feels like the competition changes every few months. At first it was Alabama, then it was Ohio State. Now I think Texas has to watch LSU a little bit. Tennessee was in the mix, but now it's Miami, and so I think and Miami's the one that's closer to home. And so you got, in the NIL area, you got to watch Miami because they can do some funny things. But I think, with French, it's Texas versus the field, essentially, because he might have a different team that they're competing against in June. And then at the end with Khalil Lockett, it's almost a dealer's choice. He really liked Ohio State at first. And now that's kind of withered a little bit. LSU is definitely in it. A&M really likes him. Like A&M wants him to be a part of that class. And so I think Texas is actually battling 4 or 5 different schools with Lockett. I don't think it's just 1 or 2 specific. With French, you get a better idea. But with Lockett, I think he's a little more well-rounded. But the common thread with all 3 of those guys is they really like Texas, and the relationship gets better and better each month.
All those guys are scheduled to be at Texas in late June on varying weekends. I think that's a group some of them will be in on June 14th through 16th. Some of them will be in on June 21st through 23rd. And we're going to have that info over on Inside Texas this week. So make sure you come join us. Anything else on wide receiver recruiting, Justin? I know that's the top 3, but they still have to keep their eyes on some other guys, including Marcus Harris, Dalen McCutcheon, I'll start with you. I'll flip to Marcus Harris, and then we can talk to Coach about Dalen McCutcheon. Where do you think Texas kind of stands with him at this juncture?
They were in an incredible. They were in the best spot with Marcus Harris for the last year. Chris Jackson's an alum of Mater Dei, and I think they really connected. Not to mention that pipeline from Mater Dei, from Santa Ana to Austin, getting better and better each time. But I think we're in a position now where if a few receivers that had committable offers, in the first 6 months of their recruitment, if they didn't make any decisions, it might be tougher to do that now. It might be tougher to pull the trigger. A guy like a Marcus Harris, a Tanook Hines, a Kelshawn Johnson, an Andrew Marsh. Now these guys, I think they can still jump in the boat if they say they wanted to today, but I think those days are starting to dwindle. I think the closer we get to official visit season, not all these guys are going to be able to jump in the boat. And Coach even got to see Dalen on Sunday, and he'll have some good stuff there. And you got to talk about him too, because Texas still talks to him. And so there's about 4 or 5 guys there that, if you're a Texas fan, you should be happy if any of those guys jump into class. I think they all have their own skill set and their own qualities that they bring. But now that we're getting, we're inches away from June and official visit season, I think those spots are becoming a lot tighter, and I think Sark realizes they've got some good momentum, and they can start to cherry pick a little bit more than, say, they would have 6 months ago.
Speaking of, Coach, like Justin mentioned, you got to see Dalen McCutcheon. You've seen a couple different receivers, one who's kind of eliminated Texas, but that's not Dalen McCutcheon. He's still going to take his official visit. You got to see him work. What's the latest with him?
Yeah, I like Justin said, he does keep in contact with Texas, still talks to Chris Jackson. If he is the third receiver, who knows? He's great within his own right, with the other guys. So just looking at him, Sunday, Margin Hooks kind of shut him down early because couldn't nobody cover him out there. He kind of got his reps and then he got out, but he's just so smooth. I call him like a power receiver, man. He just has like these big, strong legs, and he's just running through contact, and he's able to, flip his hips and get his head around and catch the ball. He has strong hands. So I don't know, maybe he's like baby wit. You can call him that. He has that kind of build to him, and so. If he does jump into class, I think you don't miss anything from him or getting any other guys. They're all like great receivers who have their own great skill set, and so we'll see what happens after his official visit.
Texas likes great receivers with great skill sets and guys who bring versatility. Another guy who brings versatility, our buddy Andre the Lawyer. Andre the Lawyer is a longtime Inside Texas member. His principal office is in Dallas, Texas, and he's been helping injured Longhorns throughout the state. No win, no pay, and plus, if you use Andre the Lawyer, every client gets a personalized text message number. Call them at 214-444-8808, whether you're in a car wreck, an 18-wheeler accident, a slip and fall, an on-the-job injury, or in wrongful death. Call Andre the Lawyer at 214-444-8808. Fellas, we go from the 2025 class to the 2026 class, and we talk about running back. On3 released its updated On 300. There are 42 players from the state of Texas in the top 300. I think there are 14 from the state of Texas in the top 100, and 6 of those 14 are running backs. I'll go through them real quick. Javian Osborne, number 23 overall from Forney. Jonathan Hatton, 47 overall, an OU commit from Cibolo Steel. Davian Gross, number 59 overall from Frisco Lone Star. Tredarian Ball, 75 at Texarkana, Texas High. KJ Edwards, 87 at Carthage. And finally, Texas commit Racine Guillory from Aledo at number 98. For a position that the pro game does not seem to value very much, this seems to be a pretty strong crop in the 2026 class, doesn't it, Coach?
Yeah, it does, and you got the chance to talk about Gross before jumping on air, just kind of watching his film. And I think one thing that sticks out about all these guys is versatility. They all can catch the ball out the backfield and maybe line up out wide. So it's different to see that because most people don't utilize the running backs like they used to, even at the high school level. Everybody wants to throw the ball around, but I think it's an indication that we got some good guys, as the rankings shows.
Justin, a lot of these names may not be ones we've talked about that much, or at least a handful. Jonathan Hatton going to Oklahoma out of Cibolo Steel. Davian Gross, name I'm not totally familiar with from Frisco Lone Star. but there are four that we know. Racine Guillory, obviously the 2026 commit from Alito, but also from inside the state, obviously, KJ Edwards at Carthage, Tredarian Ball at Texas High, and Javian Osborne at Forney. Trashard Choice is not going to have to get on a plane. He's just going to have to get in a car to recruit this 2026 class at running back, it appears.
Yeah, I think it's funny too. I think I told Eric over a year ago, I said, I'm going to predict that 2026 is the year that Texas doesn't go out of state for running backs. Not just because, Choice had been in Austin for, 3 years now, but also because the in-state crop is ridiculous and they're all within about 3 hours of each other. It starts with Javian Osborne. He's number one on the big board. He's been number one on the big board for 2026. Choice is going to be able to kind of stay home. And you know what it does? It asks the question. They're taking 2 running backs in every cycle. I think that's kind of the standard of what they want right now. I think 26 might be a little different. And I'm saying that because, he's going to have to tell some really good, talented guys no. And that's not something I think we've actually seen so far in this, in his tenure when he's in Austin. From Osborne to Tredarian Ball to KJ Edwards, those are the 3 I think that he's the closest to. Those are the 3, and not including Guillory obviously because he's committed in the class, but I feel like it might be 3 because and that's if Guillory stays in the class. It has a long way to go till he signs, but I know for a fact Osborne is number 1, and Osborne feels that way. He just came off a visit to Oregon, and he absolutely loved it up there. I caught up with him there. And then Tredarian Ball and KJ Edwards are about an hour and a half, 2 hours away from each other. Both of them just super versatile, super fast. Listen, when Ball ran a 10.48 100 this year, like he put in at 200 pounds, almost 200 pounds. He put in some work, and not to discredit, Hatton and Gross. Those guys had really good years last year, like very productive years. I think Texas just has their eyes on that specific 3 or 4 guys. But you're right, he doesn't have to go far. He's not going to have to get on a plane. He's just going to have to get on a car and drive a few hours to be able to hit all these guys. I think the big question is 3 a potential number? Because, and if it's not, who are the guys that he's going to have to tell no? That, to me, is going to be the biggest storyline for 2026 running backs.
These are guys who should probably make their way to Texas over the course of the summer. They may head to Austin for the camp days, but these are guys with offers. They may not need to camp. They could camp if they wanted to. Some star players decide to do that.
Ball will be there. KJ Edwards will be there. Osborne's going to be at Tennessee, but he'll be coming back in about a month to Austin for an unofficial. They're all going to be within Austin, I think, within the next month, Joe.
And Coach, we talked about there being one ball, but often there's only just one running back on the field. So how do you maybe not dictate, but how do you tell players about a 2 running back class, or even in the rare instance of a 3 running back class?
If you're Tashard Choice, you just pull up the last 2 drafts, honestly, man. Bijan Robinson, Roshan Johnson, then you got Keelan Robinson and Jonathan Brooks. Like, this next year may be the only.
And Jahmyr Gibbs.
Well, hey, that too. So, track record speaks for itself. That's what you pull up. That's what you talk about. You get multiple guys drafted. So, yeah. And then, hey, you get to the next level with fresh legs. Like, what else can you ask for running back? You can come in Texas. You're going to produce. You're going to put up stats. You're going to win games. You're going to get drafted, but you're going to be fresh. Have fresh legs at the same time, right? So, that's what you say. That's the selling point. And Tashard Choice develops you. He gets you prepared for the next level. When you get to the NFL, you know what it looks like to, picking up a blitz or who you should pick up in protection. You're going to know everything, not just running the football. You're going to know a whole lot about playing position when you come play for Texas for Tashard Choice, and I think that's really, really key, and that's the selling point.
Joe, look at class of 2025. James Simon, he's at the spring game. They've already got Ricky Stewart Jr. in the mix. They want one more. The Calvary Baptist kid, it looks like Texas could be the school. James Simon goes to the spring game and watches multiple running backs touch the ball. That was a positive. He liked that it wasn't just Baxter. It wasn't just Jaden Blue. It was a committee, because that's what Choice has done. Jonathan Brooks wasn't even the main guy last year at the beginning of the year or the end of the year. And so I think the flexibility there, that Choice has no problem giving 15 carries, 20 carries to number of kids. They find that as a strength, whereas you could see some programs try to recruit against Texas in that regard. I think Choice has flipped the script and made it more of an allure.
He is definitely doing it different at the recruiting the running back spot. We're doing it different here on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel, bringing you great stuff every single day. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and of course, head to InsideTexas.com. You can get 2 months of Plus access for just $1 using the promo code IT1. Justin, Charlie, thank you so much. Thank you to Andre the lawyer. We will see you next time on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel, powered by InsideTexas.com.